Howdy, my friends. I'm here to share this with you today. It is the Legends of the Monsterverse Omnibus. Now, this version I have right here has this fancy schmancy little slip cover and a different cover art than the retail version of this. I kickstarted this book when it was announced about a year ago, and part of the Kickstarter thing is it has a little bit of exclusivity. So the retail one that you pick up at the store is going to have a different cover than this, and it's not going to have that slipcase. But other than caring about that, I say go for it, because this book is wonderful. I believe it'll have the same build as far as just how the book is made. I don't know if it'll have these little tassely bookmarks that are in with it, but I have to say the build of this book is phenomenal. All the way this book lays out is beautiful. Like right here at the beginning of this really heavy omnibus, I can open it up like that and it stays open completely flat. It's the same way in the middle, and it's the same way at the very end. So I have nothing but praise to say about how the book was built itself. And if you're here just to see how the book was looking, like I said, it's going to have a different cover than that. Not going to have that slipcase, but it should have the same build quality, and the paper is phenomenal. It's thick. It holds everything well. You don't get any bleed through the pages at all. It is wonderful. So nothing but high praise for how the book was built. But I will say that I have recently seen this book, having just released retail like 2 weeks ago. I already see it on sale for like $30 cheaper than I paid for. So don't feel bad that you're not getting that fancy schmancy slipcase or the really cool cover art, because you're also probably saving yourself about $30 too. But you know, there were a few other cool things that came with the Kickstarter, so I shouldn't knock it too hard, but still, you know what I'm saying. This is what we get in here. Godzilla Awakening. Really cool. A prequel to the first Godzilla movie that came out under Legendary Studios in 2014. Then we get Skull Island, The Birth of Kong, and that acts as a sort of prequel to Skull Island and gives an origin story for Kong. That's kind of maybe not in continuity anymore with new movie stuff, but you'll find that applies to a lot of this and extra material when you're going with a movie series. That's just how it rolls. You know, future Star Wars movies always supersede any comic books that came out. You know what I'm saying? Godzilla Aftershock, really cool. It's a fun series. It acts kind of a prequel to Godzilla King of the Monsters. Godzilla Dominion takes place after King of the Monsters and all that, and it is wonderful. That is just a from Godzilla's POV sort of comic. That is probably my favorite thing in the whole book. Kingdom Kong is a kick-ass King Kong story, and I love the hell out of it. Godzilla Fight or Flight is a brand new story in this book here, and I already owned all these previous comics as either single issues or trade paperbacks, but this one here is exclusive, so you know I gotta pick up the book, because I love comics and I eat up Godzilla, so like Godzilla comics are my favorite. But not the best in the book. Glad I got it, but I'm glad I just got this book just to have all these stories in oversized, and having them in hardcover is really cool. Having them all bundled together is wonderful. I won't show you everything in the book, but I do want to flip through pages so you get an idea of the human to monster ratio in each story and in a whole. Because I don't know about you, but I go into these things for the monsters, not the people. But I want a good cohesive story. Thankfully, you do get a good cohesive story in this book throughout in each different graphic novel. And as you'll see, all the action's really cool. This first story right here might be my least favorite of the bunch, and I like it a lot, so I don't know if that tells you anything. My biggest complaint is the new monster featured within here. It just doesn't really stand out to me. But man, that page does. Every time I see it, I am wowed. It just looks so cool. But yeah, I think the super dark colors don't work with the design because it hides everything. And even though it's a really neat looking creature, it just feels kind of bleh. To me. Anyhow. Not to be a jerk or nothing. But yeah, that's my biggest complaint about the book is really the monster. But Godzilla looked really cool there. I like that page a lot. So just don't go into this book thinking that continuity matters too much. Continuity is something we use to facilitate enjoyment of stories. Don't get all hitched up on a thing if it's contradicted in future movies. I haven't seen the new Apple TV show, but I've heard there's some stuff that happens in the Apple TV show that contradicts some of these graphic novels here. I don't know what it is because I haven't seen it, but that doesn't surprise me. And man, I could go on a thing about Star Wars comics and old media not counting anymore, but like I say, none of that really matters. And all that matters is you're having a good time while you're reading this book. So if any of this artwork right here looks good to you, then pick this up. But let's move on to another story. Let's move on to Bertha Kong right here so you can get an idea of this book. I really like this. It features this fella here. If you remember him, he's an old man version of the young black scientist guy from the Skull Island movie. So, and of course we see him as this version, the old man, in the other movies too. But that was the movie where it featured him the most, so that's why I remember him from. But the graphic novel's about him and him reminiscing a thing, and then his son going off on a mission. And it's pretty dang cool. There's a lot of great monster action in this, but all the people action is really great too. Like, you get fairly invested in all these characters, and you're really interested to see what happens with them. And I like that, as you'll see right here, not everybody makes it. Which, just adds a little bit of like intense stakes to the story. And let's fast forward a little here. Yeah, look at that. Does that not look cool or what? I want to get to a particular set of pages that are a little bit further down. So I'm just going to flip fast through it till I see it. But do these creatures not look cool or what? Now, don't go into this book expecting a bunch of Toho monsters. You're not going to get your Gigans or your Hedoras. But you are going to see a lot of really neat looking things and meet new monsters that you might find yourself liking just as much as any of those other ones. We don't see too much of them, but I'm very partial to that new Behemoth creature. I think he looks rad as hell with his like giant mammoth monster looking thing going. It's just really cool. Let's see, where is it? Here we go, right there. These guys, the Mother Longlegs from the Skull Island movie. They give me the heebie-jeebies and the super icks. They are so cool. Ugh. So creepy. I love it. Oh, what a nightmare. Whew. And then Kong coming in like, Bam! Smash that bug. I love it. So cool. So cool. Yeah, yeah. If this doesn't look cool to you, do not buy this book. I love it. So let's move forward here to Godzilla Aftershock. I like this one quite a bit. Again, where it places and all that. It's a sequel to the first Godzilla movie, prequel to King of the Monsters, but it doesn't get referenced really at all in the movies. But it adds a little bit of, fun and getting to know the people. And we do see, like her right there, scientist lady, and we see angry terrorist fella and such, and her too. Yeah, and I mean, spoiler alert from the movies, but they're all dead now, so I'm so sad. I felt like Serizawa, I loved him in the movie, and I felt like he got a full-on story arc, but man, they kill her off so suddenly, and man, yeah, just that stung. I thought she was wasted. She was pretty cool. But this is a real fun one. I like this new creature we have here, the Muto Prime. I'm still a little salty that the Mutos never got a proper Titan name, especially when they moved away from calling the giant monsters Mutos, because that's just what they were calling all the giant monsters. What was it? Massive unidentified terrestrial organisms. Well, I mean, Godzilla's technically a Muto too. Or they're unidentified, so identify the thing. They do give this Muto Prime a proper name. I believe they call it Raijin. But they also refer to it as Muto Prime and the other Mutos as Mutos. And I just wish they'd give them a real name. Like, I don't know. Whatever the hell you want. Like, bug lizard, bat creature. Call them Butthead. Just give them a name. You know what I'm saying? But I do like that they went with the Raijin name in here. I thought that was pretty cool. For the Muto Prime, I just think the regular Mutos should have a name beyond male Muto and female Muto. And I was a little bit iffy on how they talk about the Muto life cycle in this book as far as how it meshes with things. But again, that doesn't matter. It works well within the context of the story. It doesn't matter how it works with other things. And within the story itself, it worked just fine. I dug it. But one has to wonder why we didn't see any Muto Primes in the first Godzilla movie then, huh? Just saying. But this is a fun book here. Really good fights. I want to fast forward. You don't need to see the whole thing here. But you do need to see that. Is that not cool? Show you a little bit of coolness. I like that we fight this monster here, the Skyla creature, and I love that at this point I've actually seen the new Godzilla Kong movie, New Empire, and this creature was featured within it. I was so thrilled to see some of the comic book monsters actually make an appearance in the film and have it be an actual fight and not just a flash on the screen sort of appearance. But yeah, that monster is really awesome. This guy's really cool too. I'm blanking on his name right now, but we'll get to it in the special features in the back because they have profiles on all of them. But I love this behemoth guy. He is so cool. I want to see more of him in the movies. I love that guy. He's a badass. Just kind of reminds me of Anguirus as far as monster personality goes. But yeah, this dude's pretty awesome too. I dig it. He's a giant plant monster. This is really fun. I like this book a whole lot more than the last one. I guess I got so caught up in talking about the books that I didn't, or what was on the page, I didn't specify the change that when we flashed to this page here, I didn't say we were skipping to the next story. So, my bad there. But this right here is Godzilla Dominion. And this book's all about from Godzilla's perspective. And it's all giant monster fights. And it's so much fun. We meet a lot of new monsters too. This really cool fish monster here that controls these other fish. There's a cool squid monster we're seeing at a point later. Well, later, right here. So neat. Yeah, I love that. Although I feel like there should be a scree right there at the beginning of that. This was my favorite issue in the whole story. Just because it's nothing but Godzilla fighting monsters and just monsters doing their thing. We get the Tiamat creature that we see in the new movie too. Was so fantastic. Seeing that monster make an appearance in the movie, because I enjoyed it in the comic here. I mean, it's pretty much just an American version of Manda, but giving them some extra powers. But you know, serpentine sort of monster. Really just neat looking. I dig it. It's not like Manda owns that trope. Really cool aquatic monster. Has awesome electricity powers. But as you can see in the comic, it does not have that radical pink energy that we saw in the movie. It's more of a neon blue, the same as Godzilla has. So I guess all that storm energy from the last movie hadn't developed at this point. Let's just say that. But yeah, this is such a fun comic. I like that one quite a bit. Kingdom Come. This one's really rad. I dug it. It's got that same sort of art style as the last ones. We see some of the same characters we saw before. I enjoy that it kind of feels cohesive. I dig this Spirit Tiger, I believe is what they were calling it. So let's flip ahead just a little bit more. I just want you to get an idea of everything you're going to see in this book, and so you don't buy it thinking you're going to get something you're not. There are sections where there's a lot of people doing people stuff, so don't think the whole book is like that Godzilla Dominion, but we're seeing some great monster action throughout, and I don't think you'll be disappointed if you pick it up. I like this bat creature a lot. Very cool. This right here we're digging into at this moment is the brand new exclusive story. It's not very long. It's not a full graphic novel. It's like the length of a standard comic book. So I didn't do a page count, but you know, let's do a live page count together. Godzilla Fight or Flight. Brand new story. 1 page, 2 page, 3 page, 4 page, 5 page, 6 page. With a really cool spread too, right? I dig that. I do not mind having to turn my book like that. I know some people resent that. But as a kid who read comics in the 90s, I got used to doing that real quick. Oh, watch out. Don't hit the camera. So where were we? 6 page, 7 page, 8 page, 9 page, 10 page, 11 page, 12 page. Yeah, standard size comic. Totally. So here we got all the special features. I like this quite a bit that we're going to get to, the Arthur Adams cover. I'm a bit resentful that we didn't get a full page of this, because I remember in the collection I had was featuring this cover, and it was full size, full color, absolutely beautiful, and no one does Godzilla like Art does. He's just the best. Here we get that one page we saw before. Super duper cool. We see that new monster. I don't remember its name. I can't recall if it actually had a proper one. But again, that's my least favorite of all the Legendary Studios monsters I've seen. It just feels so unmemorable to me. But some really cool special features there. Not my favorite of the features. My favorite of the features are the full-on art bits like this here, and the character profiles. This one's so cool. Again, it's got that creepy spidery thing, but the fact that it's sort of a shellfish and not a spider somehow makes it less creepy to me. This guy right here, the whole wood thing, I dig it. It looks really cool. He's vicious. I'm really gonna be looking forward to seeing him on the big screen if and when it happens. This one's really neat, but I felt it was almost too colorful. I dig it though. He's my boy. I love that guy. He's so cool. All right, here we're getting into the fun, nerdy D&D type bullshit. Okay, shoot. I'm realizing earlier I was calling this guy Raijin, but it's Jinshin Mushi. I think I was getting it mixed up with the monster from Pacific Rim. So my bad on that. Man, Pacific Rim, that was a good movie too, I tell you what. But yeah, we get a bunch of fun character bios and world building in the back, talking about locations and the creatures and things, and it just adds a whole lot of fun and more lore to just seep yourself in. And really, that's all these comics are, is just supplemental material to the movies. But if you like the movies, you're going to love the comic, because oftentimes the comics are just doing movie type stuff on a page. We flipped through this all, so you got to see plenty of action, and you know what you're getting into. I gotta say though, this guy right here, not super heavily featured, just a tiny bit in the comic, but oh so creepy. This swamp locust, no thank you. It just hides inside the water, floating like that. Its legs stick up, looking like trees, and then it snatches and eats you. No thank you. That's just a nightmare. Just a nightmare. I like that spore mantis in the movie. I thought he was real cool. Same thing with the buffalo. Ooh, yeah, these mother long legs. So creepy. Tell me, 1 out of 10. Was that not the scariest, most creepy nightmare thing you've ever seen in your life when you saw that thing in the movie? I give it a 10. Ugh. But I mean, that's also why I love it so much. It's a great monster. So here we get more profiles on some of the later monsters. These are guys from the Godzilla books. And I like this guy. Yeah, so cool. Plant. It's like his body's a mix of flesh and bark. Like he's a living, organic-y, fleshy tree thing. I don't know how that'd work, but I guess it's basically the same concept as Biolante. So I dig him. I think he's cool. But like I say, this guy's got to be my favorite of all the legendary monsters. Yeah, definitely him or the crustacean Skyla, I think it was. Well, I'll get to his page in a second. Yeah, this guy's real cool. I love this design. I love the broken horn. And actually, you'll see him. He's got his full tusks here, but his one tusk gets broken in the comics. So I'm curious to see if it's still intact when we see him next time. Whether it'll grow back or not. But he was really cool. I loved how he controlled a swarm of like little tiny miniature bat versions of him. And when I say miniature, I mean they're about half the size of a jet fighter. So I only say that because they were fighting a bunch of jet fighters. This is the guy from the Kong book. I liked him quite a bit. I thought he was a very effective, cool monster. And I'd be anxious to see them bring him in for one of the later movies too. I think he could work effectively as a enemy for either Kong or Godzilla. I don't want to see him as an enemy though. I'd like to see him come back as like a bro monster, or at least like chilling. He don't want to fight. He just wants to chill and be cool. Yeah, Skyla. I like this creature quite a bit. Real neat. But I didn't mean to skip over if you want to look at this bio as well. You can always go back and pause at any time if you want to just look at what's on the screen. But dig these monsters quite a bit. Yeah, Spirit Tiger. Not much known about him because he gets his ass kicked by Kong in like 4 pages. But what a neat looking thing. And like I said, I enjoyed this creature quite a bit in the comic, and it was a thrill to see it on the big screen. I enjoyed that new movie so much, and I've only seen it that one time at this point, but I'm very much looking forward to going back and seeing it again. And it was such a thrill seeing some of these legendary Monsterverse comic book monsters make full screen appearances in a movie theater, and I thought they did a great job. But my hat goes out to everybody who worked on these. I enjoyed all the artwork. I thought the most boring and dry of the stories was entertaining, and the build of the book itself is one of, if not the best I've ever owned. It just holds together so well as far as no matter where I am in the book looks good. So many books I have to force the pages down, and I miss all the artwork in the gutter for those spread pages. But not a problem with this book right here. And it's something that you're gonna want to appreciate the artwork on. You're gonna love this book if you pick it up. I know I loved it, and I had a great time going through it with you and just getting to be nerdy about it for a second. So I hope you had a good time, and I will talk to you later.